Hello appraisers, this is Brandon with Spark for Appraisers, and in this video we're going to be covering some recent, actually very recent information from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Actually, they both issued guidance today, a few hours ago, and we have already updated Spark to account for some of that. So I would go and check this out if this is going to apply to you. This video is not meant to be a commentary on whether it's a good idea to do these type of appraisals, whether it's a bad idea, what you should be charging, none of that stuff. This is just talking about this is what Fannie and Freddie have asked. If you are going to do these types of appraisals, how Spark might be able to help you at least a little bit. So we've just added in a couple settings into Spark. Obviously, this guidance just came out a few hours ago, so we've just added it in and gone through all our testing. But here's how it works. So essentially, if you are asked to do what would normally be an interior appraisal where you go and inspect the interior of the subject property, but they have converted that based on the new guidance from Fannie and Freddie so that you can do either a desktop or an exterior. Then make sure and read the engagement letter. I'll link to the letter both from Fannie and Freddie in the video description below. So go and read it. But part of that, it gives you instructions on one, what form to use, like right here. If you're doing a desktop, here's what form to use. So you're going to be using an actual 1004 form, even though it's a desktop appraisal. And then they give you guidance on what to do when you do that. And two of those things we have tried to help you with at least a little bit in Spark. And let me show you them. So right here, let's just say I've loaded in a subject and a few comps, and I want to load that into my report. And this is a report where I may be doing a desktop appraisal on an actual 1004. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit export. And now you'll notice down here at the bottom left, there are a couple new options here. So first, it tells you these options, and then it says map reference. So in the guidelines from Fannie and Freddie, they have said that if you're doing a desktop appraisal on a regular 1004, they want you to modify the map reference field and put in the word either desktop or exterior, depending on which situation applies to you. So let's just say it's a desktop in my case. And right now, Freddie's page, right here, this is an example of how they want it to look. Map reference, they want it to say desktop, if that applies to you, or exterior, if that applies to you. So back in Spark, you choose desktop, and then when you choose desktop, and otherwise, by the way, it's always going to default to this. So by default, it's always just going to load in your map reference number, no change at all. This is going to be the only setting on this screen that will not save for next time. You will have to manually choose this every time. Obviously, we did that so we don't accidentally, or you don't accidentally load information into your report that is for a completely different type of appraisal, especially when we get into what I'm about to talk about next. So by default, it will always load in map reference like normal. You go in here and you choose one of these others, and then when you do, two things happen. First, whatever choice you pick in here, either exterior or desktop, that means that Spark will load that into the map reference field of your appraisal report based on the Fannie and Freddie guidelines. So again, it will load in either the word exterior or the word desktop into the map reference field of your appraisal report. One caveat is Spark will only do that if you actually have loaded in a subject property into the grid of Spark. If you have not done that, then Spark doesn't fill anything out in the subject section of page 1 of your report, which is where the map reference field is. So again, once you choose in this dropdown either exterior or desktop, if you have a subject property in Spark in the grid, then Spark will then load in the word exterior or the word desktop into the map reference field of your appraisal report. And then second, if you have a la mode total or win total, or if you're using click forms, then this other option will pop up. By the way, side note, this does not work for ACI, this second option. For ACI, it will load in desktop or exterior, definitely. But for ACI, it will not load in the additional scope assumption certification page. That is something ACI has asked us not to do because they are going to be issuing guidance for all ACI appraisers tomorrow. Again, today is the 23rd, the day this guidance came out. So tomorrow, the 24th, hopefully ACI is going to have guidance for you. Okay, so what does this do though if you're using something besides ACI? Basically, if you choose yes here, what that means is it's going to load in the additional scope of work, assumptions, limiting conditions, and certification page that Fannie and Freddie have asked you to load in. And let me show you what that looks like. So first of all, I'm going to go look at um, Fannie Mae's guidance. And if you scroll down, you'll get to this section, which I would encourage all of you to read. And it basically tells you this is the verbiage you need to use in your report if you're doing a desktop or a modified desktop, we should call it, or a modified exterior is this one. And it does say appraisal report submitted to us using the flexibilities provided in this lender letter must include these documents with the modified language for scope of work, statement of assumptions, limiting conditions, and certifications. So if you click those to look at them, this is what you'll get. This is the verbiage if you're doing a desktop. It says in your appraisal report, enter the word desktop in the map reference field. We've already covered how Spark will do that for you now if you'd like. And copy the entire text below, including the word desktop, and paste it into your report. That's everything from here down, and it's like 3 or 4 pages long. And so now Spark will load this into your report if you want it to. And all you have to do that is check that box right here that says yes. Just mark that yes instead of no, and then hit go. And then Spark is going to create the file to load everything in. And here is what your final product will look like. So this is in total, the total software. So you can see it put in the word desktop right here in my map reference field, which I asked it to do. And it will do this whether you use ACI, a la mode, or ClickForms, assuming you use that setting in Spark at the bottom left of the export. And also, it's going to load in, because I chose yes, it's going to load in this page right here, which is the page that Fannie and Freddie have asked you to include, where it says copy and paste the entire section below. And so this is everything in here. That is pretty much it. So that's it. We load in the word desktop or exterior in the map reference field, and then in the text addenda, we load in the text that they have provided in their guidance letters. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to us. I would also encourage everyone, if you are potentially going to be doing these, go and read about it so you can see exactly what Fannie and Freddie want and if it's an assignment you're comfortable doing. And then you can use Spark to help at least a little bit by loading this information in. I'm assuming many of you, if you're going to do these, you'll probably end up making your own templates, so then you won't need to use this from Spark. But anyways, these options are here if you'd like them. And that is it. Thanks for watching the video. And if you have any questions, give us a call or shoot us an email. And don't forget, in the video description below, go check out those links to the guidance from Fannie and Freddie. Thanks a lot.